Hey, welcome to Small Plates. This is Kyle Reynolds coming at you from San Clemente, California. I'm super excited that Wayne has asked me if I would introduce one of my songs to kick off the very first Small Plates podcast. The song that he chose is called Baptized, and I wrote this song about growing up, about when I was in high school, and just kind of going through a tough time, trying to figure out who I am and trying to get my mind right and all that crazy stuff that happens when you're growing up. I'm really happy to share this original music with you today. My name is Kyle Reynolds. You're listening to the Small Plates podcast, and this is Baptized. They found a bottle of vodka in my car. They didn't care until I mixed the Adderall. They say if I keep it up, I won't make it that far. Hanging with the neighbors, getting high. But I lie straight to my mom with bloodshot eyes. I know she prays for my forgiveness every night. Lord knows she prays for my forgiveness every night. I'm trying to get my mind right, but I always cross the whole line. They say stop, but I see green lights. They're telling me to change, throwing water on my face. I guess I'm baptized. You're my mother, you're my father, I'm your son. Who the hell do you think that I'd become? 'Cause I run just like you did, and I'm scared of commitment. Who the hell do you think that I'd become? I'm trying to get my mind right, but I always cross the whole line. They say stop, but I see green lights. They're telling me to change, throwing water on my face. I guess I'm baptized. I'm trying to get my mind right, but I always cross the whole line. They say stop, but I see green lights. They're telling me to change, throwing water on my face. I guess I'm baptized.
Hi, you're listening to Small Plates, bite-sized career strategies for musicians, other creators, and their collaborators. My name is Wayne Martin, and I am a career strategist, a career manager in the entertainment fields. On our very first time together, I think it's probably a good idea to explain the metaphor of the Small Plates name. This series is comparable to visiting a tapas bar or restaurant. It's similar to that conceptually. Nothing is big and heavy to digest. There's not an overwhelming number of options in front of you. And so as a listener, you can have a quick learning experience without too much commitment. Everything that you're going to digest here is going to be self-contained and completely in and of itself and bite-sized. So just like the various small plates on a table, in a tapas restaurant. There's a relationship to other podcasts in the series. They complement one another, but there's no requirement that you order more than one or that you sample them in a particular way. Next time you're hungry for some career insights, you can stop by, have another self-contained small plate. And in order to keep that concept honest, I've designed each podcast to only last about 30 minutes so that you can listen in between classes, on your commute home from your day job with a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe with an adult beverage of your choice at night, whatever works for you. Get in, get out, and move on. That's the idea here. I was motivated to create small plates because I see an underserved community of creators, musicians, authors, painters, choreographers, actors of all kinds, and others that could benefit from some coaching on how to build a sustainable and successful career. I have these kinds of introductory conversations all the time. Now, because my career has mostly been integrated inside the music space, I'm going to speak in universal truths as they often apply to careers in music. But if you're not a musician, you can certainly apply these strategies to whatever your own artistic discipline is. This is our first podcast. It's podcast 101, and it's titled, I Gotta Get My Mind Right. You just heard Kyle Reynolds introduce his song, Baptized. I tripped over that song while I was streaming one day. The turns and the twist in the production stopped me dead in my tracks. I should say that I don't have any relationship with Kyle. I've never met him. But I contacted him and I said that song would resonate lyrically for the first small plates. Because getting your head on straight is a healthy theme for anyone who's trying to learn. It's a song about Kyle's paradigm shift in thinking, and that's the most promising mindset any creative can have toward their career. So big thanks to Kyle for offering up the inspiration for today. Part of getting your mind right is understanding that there are certain parts of the way you approach your career mentally that you are wholly responsible for. There's nothing that I can say. There's nothing any manager, music label, producer, casting agent can say or do that will actually and definitively change your mindset, because that aspect of your career is 100% your responsibility. Getting your mind right belongs to you. And if you don't do that, then what doesn't happen also belongs to you. I'm going to offer you 5 mental adjustments today, 5 strategies to help you get your mind right. They are in no particular order of importance, and it's not a definitive list by any means. It's not everything every creative needs to try to accomplish a mental reset or a career launch or a career adjustment, but these are just some good basics, and I don't think that anyone that I work with would argue that. The first strategy today is to be coachable. I have a coach. I've been in the business of music, helping musicians for 30 plus years, and yet I still have a coach. Great athletes that set world records and win championships, they have coaches. So when you run into any professional that can provide you with insight and guidance, then you have to be able to hear them. And then you have to be able to apply what they've said. And that means you have to be coachable. Over the years, I've had Artists project insecurities onto me, project a lack of success onto me, refuse to listen to the experts around them, refuse to compromise or be accountable. And when those things happen, it's more than a disagreement. Those are examples of how your coaches aren't able to help because you are in the way. If you happen to believe that you already know everything you need to know in order to be a successful artist, then not only is this podcast not for you, but I'm going to say a successful career in music or dance or theater, whatever your discipline is, I'm going to say that's not for you either. If you are lucky enough to have a team of experts around you and you refuse to learn, you're actively keeping people that want you to succeed from helping you succeed, from doing their job, and that is a no-win. I heard a fantastic acronym applied to the word wait. Why am I talking? Shut up and listen. I'm still learning. I'm still listening because that serves my own career growth. And it especially serves the artists that I work with. So can you think of any reason why being coachable wouldn't serve any kind of artist? Now, it could come as constructive criticism, and maybe that's hard to hear for some people. So if you're not lucky enough to be coached, or if you are lucky enough to be coached, and you have a coaching moment, write it down, take a screenshot, document it so that you can spend some time with it. Just because someone's giving you advice doesn't mean that you're in the mood to hear criticism or take suggestions. And we all have those mental moments, and that's fine. I'm not asking you not to be human, but I am suggesting that you document what's happening for a time when maybe you can hear it better. In the end, it's a simple concept. If you want people to help you, be coachable. The second strategy today is just as important, and that's to be prepared. Now, being prepared is actually attached or tethered to being coachable, because if you have the right attitude, then you are partially prepared for success. But for the purposes of this conversation, I'm suggesting that being prepared really refers to tools. What kinds of tools do you need to advance your career? Do you have headshots? Do you need demo recordings? Does someone need to make an electronic press kit for you? Do you need to get some additional professional lessons under your belt? Or maybe you should develop a complementary skill? And if any of these tools or other tools that you need have a hard cost attached to them, you have to address that. You have to own that. Are you interested? Are you prepared to spend money in your career? Because if you're not, you've got a fairly significant problem keeping you from advancing. If you want to be a neurosurgeon, you don't just watch some tutorials on YouTube and then show up in the operating room. You invest in your career to be prepared for the realities of your career. You spend time and you spend money on training. You intern. You study others who already do what you aspire to do, and then you practice. You practice a lot. So if you're not going to prepare the foundation for that successful, sustainable career, then you're actually preparing for failure, sad to say. A big mantra around here is to be prepared for your moment. if you aren't prepared for your moment and you don't know when that moment is coming, no one can tell you in advance because no one can predict it exactly. Not your parent, your best friend, your casting agent, your manager, no one. But if you're not prepared for your moment, that falls on you. When you finally get a record company to show up at your showcase, but you don't give the best performance of your career, or when you finally get a meeting at the offices of your dream agent or publisher, but you don't have the airfare saved in order to get to that meeting, you're simply not prepared. I'm very proud to provide you with an example of how an artist that I work with currently recently demonstrated that they were prepared for their moment. I called a singer and I said, I have an opportunity for you to audition for a lead vocal on a major label single. Right now, all I have is a rough mix of the music track idea. It's got a demo vocal on it. I have an instrumental of the same track. I have a lyric sheet, and I have a deadline. And that deadline is as soon as possible. That part was really vague, open to interpretation. And I said, I'm sorry that I can't be more specific, but that's what I was told. When I called this client about a song they had never heard, written by someone they didn't know, a lyric they had never sung, for a final track that hadn't even been recorded yet, the easiest way for that client to have responded to me and to that opportunity would have been to have said, oh, I don't know how fast I can move on this. Or I don't know if I can do this with this chest cold I've been fighting. Wayne, I don't know how to book a studio on such short notice. Or I only work with one engineer and I don't know if he'll be available. I've got sessions booked for the next few days. I really don't think I can clear my schedule in time to kind of make this a priority, to make this work. But instead, the voice on the other end of the phone only said 2 words to me. And those words were, watch me. Being prepared tactically, being prepared mentally, financially, that was all part of that artist being prepared for the moment. The third strategy for getting your mind right today is to understand and apply patience to your career. Everyone wants to know, well, when does the big break happen? When am I getting that contract or that opening slot or on a tour or a big payout? That's understandable. The results of those events can be career changing, and there are all kinds of endless opportunities if those things are handled correctly. And there's nothing wrong with wondering when and being curious about your next break. But there is more to a career than it happening fast. And you have to figure out how to juggle being driven and being patient at the same time. If you follow Gary Vee on social media, you'll recognize this kind of approach from him, where he has said that the most deadly word for any career is the word fast. F-A-S-T, fast. You may not know this, but it takes about 6 months to build just one Rolls-Royce automobile. And it takes about 12 hours to build one Toyota. When wheels are turning, there is no guarantee that as an artist, you're going to be validated or fulfilled or exposed immediately. And you can either let that destroy you or you can make peace with that. There are more artistic career failures from lack of tenacity and pacing than from lack of talent. And I want to add one caveat to patience. In no way does being patient mean being lazy. Those two things are not connected in any way. Strategy number 4 today is to be brave. Now, bravery is not the absence of fear. Let's not make that mistake. If you're going to commit yourself to your artistic career, you have to be brave enough to execute for your career. And what that means is sometimes you have to face fear. If you look at the name on a number 1 single, the New York Times bestsellers list, if you read an article about who's making the most money at the box office, or if you see someone breaking records with their social media numbers, you can rest assured that the person that's standing there is on the other side of fear. I don't suggest that being brave is easy. There's a lot to be afraid of. Some artists are afraid of rejection, some afraid of failure, some afraid of success. So when you see someone in the public eye crushing it, part of their success can be accredited to personal bravery. And so if bravery is not the absence of fear, but the ability to manage it, you have to push through it until another fear comes along. As a creative, you must be brave enough to execute. And if you become that brave, that courage will pay off for you every time. Easier said than done. Our last strategy for today is about humility. If you are number 1, coachable, number 2, prepared, number 3, patient, number 4, brave, you may have developed a detrimental ego along the way. And if you haven't yet, you're primed for it. As you become more successful, you're certainly setting yourself up for a kind of bravado that could be unhealthy for relationships in your personal life or your professional life. Some of my favorite career memories from 30 years working with developing artists and global names have to do with moments in which I witnessed healthy confidence. You can be confident and humble, but you can't be egotistical and humble. Do you understand the difference? When a creative may have every excuse or every license to be egotistical, but they approach their team with humility, they're endearing their team members to work harder and with more passion than ever before. It doesn't matter if your team is 2 other people, or you're a pop star with a touring staff of 80. Humility is often unexpected around successful creatives. So when it's actually honest and present, it's a warm and welcome surprise that has multiple benefits attached to it. So those are my 5 bite-sized strategy servings today for a creative mental checkup. Be coachable, be prepared, be patient, be brave, demonstrate humility. I hope that what I shared today resonated with you. And I'd like to share a book that I just recently finished that I think might be of interest to you, no matter what your artistic discipline is. It certainly resonated with me. It's by an author named Dmitry Ehrlich, and his book is called Inside the Music. It's not a new book. In fact, I think it's about 2 decades old, but it's a collection of interviews with household names, different genres of musicians, talking about what inspires them, spirituality and creativity and consciousness and intended thought, how that all kind of comes together when you're a creator. I found it to be a really fun, easy, engaging kind of read, and I really was having a great time seeing how others find inspiration. I don't do product pitches, so this is just from me to you. Check out Inside the Music by Dmitry Ehrlich. And as we close, I want to also tell you that we have an email address for you if you'd like to submit topic ideas to the podcast. And that is smallplatessuggestionbox@gmail.com.
You've been listening to Small Plates, bite-sized career strategies for musicians, other creators, and their collaborators, hosted by music manager and veteran career strategist, Ohayon Martin. Small Plates is a monthly subscription podcast produced by M3 New York City. Click subscribe to receive new Small Plates insights and strategies on the first Friday of each month, right here on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for listening.